Rural America was feeling like our voice was not being heard. And having Farm Bureau take that issue by the horns and really stand out in front and take the strong stance it took, it gave a lot of us a lot of confidence that, hey, there is a way that we can solve some of these issues. There is a way to be heard.
Ag's going to continue to grow. We hope it grows. It's important to keep these things going. How are we going to feed the world if we don't?
The Montana Farm Bureau was on the edge of an era where it would have to dig deep into its principles and drive home this one core purpose: to lead Montana toward a future with a prosperous agricultural economy and thriving rural communities. Dave Mcclure, well, he first showed up in Farm Bureau news in the mid-1960s. He was a young Fergus County Farm Bureau board member. In 1968, Mcclure was then the president of the Fergus County Farm Bureau. He continued to get more involved in the organization that gave him a source of inspiration. And in the early 1980s, Dave Mcclure was nominated to represent Montana on the American Farm Bureau's Wheat Commodity Committee.
As I traveled nationwide on committees, I learned what the other states were doing, and I got the idea that Montana could do some of those things too and grow. We knew we had to have a plan. We set some big goals in membership organization and adding additional activities in the Farm Bureau.
Delegates at the 1987 Montana Farm Bureau Convention elected Dave Mcclure to be the first Montana Farm Bureau president who had not formally served on the state board of directors. Bill Wright from Belgrade was elected vice president, and Dorothy Halad of Nashua would be the new women's committee chair. Now, these new leaders, they had a big hill to climb. They had to work their way out of debt to the American Farm Bureau. AFBF had given Montana a loan to help them through that mid-80s financial crisis. In addition to not having very many resources and a brand new slate of leaders, the Farm Bureau's membership numbers were holding its relevancy hostage and refuting its claim as the voice for agriculture. And Mcclure wasn't having any of it. He was bold and very upfront about his intention. He wanted Farm Bureau to be the largest, best organized, well-funded agriculture organization in the state. When I interviewed Dave Mcclure for the writing of this history book, I asked him, of all his successes as a leader in the organization, what was he most proud of? And he told me that if he had a legacy in the organization, it would be when he cast the tie-breaking vote on the hiring of a new executive director. Jake Cummins was a retired Marine, a lieutenant colonel, but he didn't have an agricultural background. And some of the board members were leery of this. There was a conflict in the hiring decision, and the board was split. Some thought that we should have a leader that had extensive agricultural knowledge. And Dave cast the deciding tie-breaking vote. And he told me that he knew that the agriculture organization had a plethora of agricultural knowledge based in its board members and its grassroots leader. No, this organization needed somebody who had leadership skills, who knew how to whip an organization into shape and lead a team forward.
So when I first got on the board, we were just starting to heal from a little disagreement, you might say, with the Farm Bureau Insurance Company. And that created some major problems financially for us. So when I was new to the board, our financial situation was pretty tough, and our membership situation was really tough. We were bleeding members through those tough years. And so we were faced with, how are we going to get membership growth? How are we going to get our finances back in order? Of course, those two are very closely tied together. But at that time, we were also going through a lot of execs through that unrest, you might call it. And at this time, I was just new on the board, and Dave Mcclure was president, and we were looking to hire a new exec. Make a long story short, we ended up with Jake Cummins. And those two especially together were just a dynamic team. With their leadership, we just really took off. We stopped the bleeding, we started to heal, we started to grow. And it was a very exciting time to be a part of Montana Farm Bureau.
Across the board, we were facing some real difficulties. We didn't have very much money. We had a budget of about $280,000, as I remember. That was our total budget. But what we really needed was somebody to stake out a place in the state for Farm Bureau and say, we're back. Farm Bureau had been very active in years prior, but just hadn't been a strong voice in the near term. So that was the big challenge, was to be recognized and heard from. So I spent a lot of time on the road, going to meetings and appearing on behalf of the organization and stating our policy. And that was challenging. We got a big state here and a lot of ground to cover.
This entered a new era that harkened back to the early explosive growth stages of the Farm Bureau, where staff and leadership recognized that if there was an event happening that even had the remotest connection to Montana agriculture, they had to be there in person, and they had to speak thoughtfully, respectfully, and professionally. Only in this way could the Farm Bureau recognize its best potential and its best opportunity, which was to represent farmers and ranchers, large producers and small startups, eastern Montana cowboys and western water users, and everyone in between. It was this big picture perspective that if it was connected to Montana agriculture, it needed to be a priority for the Montana Farm Bureau.
Probably the greatest part about the membership is we work together, not against each other. We worked together because of the difficulties we were in. Financial problems, we had tremendous financial problems at one time. That had to do with our membership. Our membership kept dwindling away because we were not, it's supposed to be kind of like our Constitution would read, it's of the people, by the people, and for the people. And we had to put that together in Farm Bureau too. That's what we do. Our membership had started to quadruple in states because of that. Involve your people. Don't ask them for a check for membership and don't do anything for them. Do what they're asking. Work on it. Get involved with them. And you can save any organization if you get involved with the people that it's supporting. But you have to support them.
We wanted to get young people involved in farming and in the organization itself, actually. There wasn't really a spot in the organization for them to belong, participate, have any influence in. That's when we started the discussion meet to try to get them to come in and talk about what's important to agriculture and to show them that they could have a voice in the Farm Bureau organization as well. Watching, especially at conventions and meetings, seeing all the younger faces showing up, we continually see more and more young people coming in. It's college level, we've got them involved in the college level now, and just seeing the enthusiasm that they have for the industry and all their interests, it just seems like we are in really good hands. We've got a good bunch of younger people coming in to continue what Farm Bureau has started.
So this ABC Farm Safety Program started in 1995, and Pat Nile asked me if I would like to join her and Melinda, the Farm Bureau, North Dakota Farm Bureau safety chairman there. So we put our stuff together, got the curriculum accounted for and approved. What did we talk about? Animal safety, water safety, lawnmower safety, grain bin safety, the augers, all of that stuff was brought down. And why did I do it? I did it because We as farmers and ranchers don't take the time. We assume and the kids follow us and we think that they're going to catch on to that. Maybe they do. But when my kids were able to leave the house and go across the road and the trucks were coming, harvest was going on, we're moving cows, all that, we needed to teach them how to be safe around those things.
I believe that the Farm Bureau Foundation is critical to our future, and I think that one of the big holes that we have to fill in agriculture is the spreading of the education to the masses and the people out there of what agriculture really is, because we have a disconnect between our people, the population out there, compared to what we used to have 40 and 50, 60 years ago. And I believe that the Farm Bureau Foundation is key to trying to pass the word and educate the younger people and the masses out there to correct that misinformation through the grants process that we do. And I believe it's very positive. I think that the Farm Bureau Federation members should consider giving more to the foundation, because it's really about the future of our industry, not only in Montana, but the whole country.
In 1997, just a decade after Mcclure took over as president, the Farm Bureau's membership had more than doubled. In 2008, when Dave announced that he would not seek re-election in his second decade of leadership, Farm Bureau was soaring at an all-time high. His dream to see the Farm Bureau become the largest, best organized, and adequately financed agriculture organization in the state was certainly coming true. At that time, more than 13,000 Farm Bureau members wished him well as he retired from leadership. By the time that Dave Mcclure's successor, Bob Hansen, finished his term as Farm Bureau president, the organization had climbed to a new all-time membership high. In 2014, the Farm Bureau counted more than 21,000 families in its ranks. The organization proved up on its dedication to being a unified voice for agriculture and a modern source for education to empower the success of its booming membership.
We had a tremendous amount of people on the staff. We did things that were done correctly. We had a lot of very good and talented people, and it was what the membership needed. They had a place to go to get things done, and we had a great amount of involvement from the grassroots, so people had buy-in on it. It grew, and everything was at the right time, and we had the right people, and everybody worked hard, and just where we went.
Toward the end of this journey of writing this Farm Bureau history book, I finally started to see the three core values of the Montana Farm Bureau meld together in what I saw as a Venn diagram. The organization's longstanding commitment to community, unity, and education became not three separate ideas, but interdependent values that have to overlap and intertwine to be effective. The unified voice, well, it has to be well-informed and highly educated in order to speak with credibility. The rural community, it has to have an educated, unified voice to find strength in its small numbers. And education only turns to action when there are people on the ground to apply it. If we're unified only as a voice for political action, we risk the peril of living and dying by political whims and the madness of the masses. If we're only an educational organization, we risk being all head knowledge and no application or action. And if we're only focused on rural communities, our small, individual, minority voices, well, they lose power in the larger challenges that face our businesses and lives. But when these three values are lived out in balance and unison, we find steadfast resilience at the diagram center. And that resilience, I learned, leaves room for adaptability and growth.
Having strong ag organizations is good for agriculture, and anything we can do to ensure their strength for our future is in our best interests.
The hope for the future is the young people, and when I see the enthusiasm in the young people and the things that they want to do, and that they're going into agriculture knowing how hard it's going to be, that gives me a great deal of hope. And to look at their hopes and dreams that they're bringing forward, it really gives me a lot of peace and hope in my heart. And I wish them the best, and anything that I can do or that we can do as members of Montana Farm Bureau to help them learn what they need to do and how they can make it happen. That's what I want to do. Farm Bureau is a family organization, and it makes you feel like you're part of a family when you're here with all the people that you know from around the state. And I'm very happy to be part of it.